In today's video, we are going to talk about the Hydra and how you can get inspiration from this creature for your own world building. The Hydra is often referred to as one of the more fearsome and memorable creatures in Greek mythology. With its many heads, the number varies in different versions of the legend, but most accounts agree it to be 9. So 9 heads, of which the middle one was said to be immortal, and with each one spewing poisonous venom. The Hydra is a formidable foe in many ways. Let's see how this can inspire us. Let's get into it. Hi guys, my name is Jesper and welcome to the Vein of Fantasy. This channel is all about giving you inspiration to master your craft and create fantasy that will truly immerse your audience. Some of the most memorable characters to appear in ancient Greek mythology was the monsters. And amongst the most iconic of those ancient beast is the many-headed Hydra. This is perhaps the most famous monster Hercules ever battled. A sort of dragon with 9 serpent heads who grew 2 heads every time you cut one off, and with breath and blood that were insanely poisonous. We have to admit that it's quite a feat to defeat this monster. The Hydra was the offspring of Typhon and Echinda. As always, I'm not sure how to pronounce those sort of names, so I put it on here on the screen, her name as well. So Typhon was the youngest son of Gaia, which is Earth, and Tartarus of the Netherworld. He was described as a grisly monster with 100 dragon's heads who was conquered and cast into the underworld by Zeus himself. Echinda was half woman, half snake, and known as the mother of all monsters. The Hydra's siblings counts creatures such as the Nemean, lion, Cerberus, chimera, and Ladon. In any case, the Hydra was taken into care by the goddess Hera and raised for one particular purpose. Hera wanted to see Hercules dead because he was the illegitimate son of Zeus, Hera's husband. The Hydra was tasked to guard the entrance to the underworld, but it would also ravage the country and terrorize its cities. Yeah, I guess why not? So Hera persuaded the king to talk Hercules into fighting the Hydra, hoping that the Hydra would then kill Hercules. And because Hercules had to redeem himself for killing his wife Megara and his children in a fit of madness, he accepted this task. And to help him, he enlisted his nephew Iolaus. In reaching the lake where the Hydra resided, they had to cover their nose and mouth with a cloth to protect themselves from poisonous gases. Having lured the monster out of its lair by shooting flaming arrows at it, Hercules seized it. It wasn't that easy to overcome though, and the Hydra kind of coiled around Hercules' foot, making it impossible for him to escape. With his club though, Hercules attacked the many heads of the Hydra, but as soon as he smashed one, lo and behold, 2 more appeared in its place. Hercules had Iolaus with him though. His nephew held a torch to the headless tendons of the neck each time Hercules removed one, and the flames prevented the growth of a replacement head. Now, only the 9th head, the immortal one, remained. and thankfully Hercules had help from his half-sister Athena. She gave him a golden sword which allowed Hercules to cut off the final head. He buried it and covered it with a heavy stone. He then slit open the rest of the Hydra's corpse and dipped his arrows in the venomous blood, which was able to inflict fatal wounds. According to some, it was one of these arrows that later on actually led to Hercules' own accidental death at the hands of his wife Deianira. What do you think of the legend of Hercules and the Hydra? We will look for inspiration in just a second, but first, if you find this story as cool as I do, please make sure to like this video and just hit the like button below, and why not share the video with a friend too. Let's just have another look at the Hydra's powers. So we have the ability to regrow heads as they are cut off with twice as many. We have the venom, and the monster is also said to be able to kill someone with a single scent of her breath. In some accounts, the Hydra could also spit acid, and then we have the poisonous blood. Now, all of this is in addition to the fact that we're dealing with an immortal monster that on its own, even without all of these extra powers, would be pretty scary foe to face, right? In terms of inspiration, having a creature like this, especially if it would do your bidding, would be a pretty big deal. However, what if it wasn't created by the gods? What if someone, perhaps a king, maybe a wizard, or some other entity would learn how to give birth to a Hydra-like creature? That in itself would mean quite some tension in our world, as something like a Hydra would not go by unnoticed. But where I think we could truly make it interesting is if it becomes personal for the characters. Much like Hera only raised the Hydra with the intention of having it one day kill Hercules, it would be interesting if we created a situation where the creature isn't just there to kill the hero, but perhaps the hero needs it too. Perhaps he needs the poisonous blood to kill another creature, only he doesn't know that someone else is actually controlling the Hydra-like creature. And if someone is actually controlling it, then that also begs the question how powerful such a foe then really is. I think there are quite a few stories buried here already that you can explore and build upon. The Hydra is a fascinating creature, but where could this idea have come from in the first place? We'll get to that in a second, but first I want to mention Patreon. It's a way to support this channel, to show that you find these videos interesting and that you want them to keep going. And it's also a way to get some rewards. There is a link in the description field below. Just go and check it out. Some accounts say that the Hydra came about from exaggerated stories about a huge squid or octopus. You know, because it has the ability to grow arms, then that turned into growing heads. But there is also the fact that the scientists have documented rare cases of 2- and even 3-headed animals found in the wild or in captivity. These mutations does not seem restricted to any one class of animals. We have in fact found a 2-headed bull shark fetus in the Gulf of Mexico in 2013. And the following year, a similar case was found in marine mammals when a 2-headed dolphin washed up on a Turkish beach. It's not impossible to think that biology may have inspired a myth such as the Hydra. At the end of the day, we can only guess where the authors of these classical myths got their ideas from. Perhaps that could be a topic for the question of the week. But no, I think I would rather ask what great ideas you can draw from the myth of the Hydra. How can we make the best use of this creature in our own fantasy worlds? That's the question. So post your thoughts in the comment section below. That way we can kind of build up a bit of a depository in the comment section filled with inspiration that we can all draw upon. In writing, I'm approaching the home stretch on the self-editing stage of Book 3 in the Keystone Bone trilogy. A few more weeks, I think, and I hope to have it ready for alpha readers, which will be absolutely awesome. I'm looking forward to that. Autumn, my business partner, and I have also begun the research phase for our world building course. I promise to come back with more information on this in the future, but we expect that it will take about 6 months to build the course, so it is still very early days, as you can hear. So in order to not miss anything, make sure to subscribe and learn to master the craft of creating immersing fantasy worlds, settings and characters. Stay safe out there and see you next Monday.